The savannah shimmered in the first light of dawn, golden rays spilling across the tall, swaying grasses, painting the earth in warm hues. The air smelled sweet and damp, carrying the faint tang of morning dew and the earthy scent of soil recently touched by rain. A gentle wind stirred the grass, sending ripples across the landscape, while distant birds called in soft, melodic notes that seemed to announce the day's awakening. Among the grass, a small lion cub tumbled clumsily, its tawny fur blending with the golden light, ears perked with curiosity. Each leap and stumble was accompanied by tiny mews of excitement, as if the young cub were discovering the world for the very first time. Butterflies flitted in lazy arcs, their wings catching the sun, and the cub pounced, missing more than once, tumbling over itself and rolling into the warmth of the earth. Not far away, a massive shadow moved with calm precision. A silverback gorilla sat among a small cluster of trees, its chest rising and falling in steady rhythm. Its eyes, dark and intelligent, followed the cub's antics without interference. There was an unspoken balance here, a quiet understanding between creatures of different worlds. The gorilla's presence added a serene stability to the scene, a protective calm that contrasted sharply with the cub's energetic leaps and bounds. Occasionally, the gorilla would shift slightly, rustling leaves and sending small birds fluttering into the air, yet remained an observer rather than a participant, a silent guardian in a vast, waking wilderness. The mother lion moved with cautious grace at the edge of the grass, her amber eyes fixed on her cub. Every few steps, she would nudge the little one with a soft nuzzle or a warning growl, a gentle reminder of the boundaries the young lion had yet to understand. Her fur caught the morning light, shimmering like burnished gold as she prowled with fluid elegance, muscles rippling under her skin. Though she appeared calm, a subtle tension clung to her movements, a mother's instinct sensing the fragility of her child amidst the open, unpredictable world. She paused, sniffed the air, and let out a low, almost imperceptible growl, her body taut as if waiting for an unseen threat to emerge. The sounds of the savannah were a symphony of life. The distant gurgle of a river winding through reeds, the gentle rustle of dry leaves in the wind, and the chirping of hidden birds that disappeared as quickly as they appeared. Yet, beneath this peaceful melody lay a subtle, unsettling undertone. From the shadows of the grass and reeds came a soft hiss, low and deliberate, almost imperceptible if one wasn't listening closely. A giant anaconda moved silently through the underbrush, its scales brushing against wet leaves and mud. The cub, unaware, continued its play, chasing a particularly vibrant butterfly toward the whispering reeds. The mother's gaze sharpened, a flicker of warning passing through her eyes, but she did not move too soon. She waited, assessing, feeling the fragile line between safety and danger. Curiosity, innocent and unknowing, pulled the cub further from its mother. Each playful leap took it deeper into the tall grass, closer to the hidden threat. The gorilla's chest swelled slightly as it adjusted its position, sensing tension in the air, its dark eyes reflecting the first hint of unease that had begun to creep across the landscape. The wind carried the hiss once more, subtle yet insistent, and the cub paused mid-pounce, ears twitching as though catching a sound it could not fully comprehend. A shadow passed across the sun, and the gentle morning of laughter and light seemed to hold its breath. This was a world alive with beauty, yet fragile, a place where wonder and danger walked side by side, and where a moment of innocence could suddenly meet the harsh reality of survival. The cub took a cautious step, then another, drifting slightly from the safety of its mother. The golden savannah stretched endlessly around them, beautiful and silent, yet threaded with unseen tension. The day that began with playful curiosity now carried the quiet tremor of impending peril, the first note of a story that would test courage, instinct, and the bond between unlikely allies. And somewhere in the reeds, the anaconda waited, patient and unseen, as the world held its breath, the calm of the morning shattered in an instant. A sharp hiss cut through the golden air as the giant anaconda lunged from the underbrush, its massive coils wrapping around the lion cub in a swift, merciless grip. The cub's frightened cries tore across the savannah, high-pitched and frantic, echoing against the distant trees. Dust rose in swirling clouds, stirred by the sudden chaos, and the once quiet grasses now seemed alive with panic, bending and snapping under the rush of movement. The cub thrashed desperately, tiny paws scratching at the snake's scale body, but the anaconda's strength was terrifyingly absolute, each coil tightening like a living vice. From the edge of the struggle, the mother lion's roar erupted, deep and resonant, shaking the very air. Her muscles tensed beneath her golden fur as she surged forward, claws extended and teeth bared, eyes blazing with fear and fury. She slammed into the snake, trying to pry it away from her child, but each strike seemed to provoke only more force from the relentless predator. The cub wriggled, its small body pressed against the suffocating coils, eyes wide with terror. For a moment, it seemed as if hope itself might snap under the weight of panic, the world narrowing to the immediate, terrifying struggle between life and death. Then, a new presence thundered into the scene. The silverback gorilla leaped from its perch, landing with earth-shaking force. Its chest heaved as it pounded the ground with massive fists, creating vibrations that reverberated through the soil. The gorilla's roar, a guttural and commanding sound, startled both the snake and the mother lion. With precise and deliberate movements, the gorilla pressed against the anaconda, pulling, shoving, and using sheer weight to unbalance the constrictor. The predator hissed and recoiled, surprised by the unexpected assault. Dust and dry leaves swirled around them, limbs and tails flailing, fangs snapping, claws scraping, a chaotic ballet of survival unfolding in slow motion. The mother lion, heart hammering, pressed her advantage. She sank her teeth into the snake's thick body and raked her claws across its scales, forcing the predator to release the cub. The little lion stumbled free, gasping and trembling, fur matted with dust and sweat, yet alive. The gorilla remained close, chest heaving, eyes fixed on the retreating snake, ensuring it would not strike again. The anaconda, finally beaten by the combined might of mother and ally, slithered back into the shadows, silent but defeated. The air was thick with dust, the echoes of roars and hisses fading into the soft whispers of the wind. The mother lion pressed herself against her cub, nuzzling it with gentle urgency, her amber eyes still alert for danger. The gorilla lowered its massive frame, chest heaving in heavy breaths, and regarded the pair with a calm, almost reverent stillness. The cub, trembling but safe, peeked from under its mother's protective shadow, and the first relief of the morning seeped into the scorched, chaotic scene. For a moment, the savannah seemed to pause, holding its breath in quiet reflection. Danger had passed, yet the memory of terror lingered, etched into every blade of grass and cloud of dust. In that fragile silence, the strength of trust and unlikely alliances was clear. The mother's courage, the cub's resilience, and the gorilla's unexpected protection had rewritten the rules of survival. The world returned slowly to its rhythm, but the echoes of heroism and the lessons of fear and bravery would linger long in the golden light of the savannah. The dust of the struggle hung thick in the air, settling slowly as the frantic echoes of hisses and roars faded into the soft whisper of the wind. The little lion cub pressed itself tightly against its mother, trembling in the aftershock of terror, yet alive. Its tiny paws clutched at her fur, seeking the warmth and safety that only a mother could provide. Each tremor was matched by the gentle rumble of her purr, a steady reassurance that danger had passed, if only for now. The golden light of the late afternoon sun bathed the savannah, casting long shadows that stretched across the tall grass, turning the landscape into a tranquil painting after the storm of chaos. Nearby, the silverback gorilla sat back on his haunches, chest rising and falling with deep, measured breaths. The exertion of his sudden charge and unexpected defense had left his muscles taut, yet there was a calm in his eyes that spoke of quiet satisfaction. He watched the mother and cub with an almost reverent stillness, understanding, in his own way, the bond forged through shared crisis. For a few moments, the savannah was silent but alive. The soft rustle of grass, the distant gurgle of the river, and the calls of birds hidden in the trees filled the space, a reminder that life continued, fragile but enduring. The mother lion's gaze lingered on her cub, amber eyes soft with relief and tenderness. She nuzzled the little one again, rubbing her warm nose along its small head, feeling the shiver fade beneath her fur. In that quiet intimacy, there was no predator, no threat, only trust and the unbreakable connection between mother and child. The cub blinked up at her, a soft purr vibrating in its throat, and for the first time since the morning, its wide eyes reflected, or rather than fear. Life was still unpredictable, but in this moment, it was also safe. The gorilla shifted slightly, his immense presence a protective shadow over the pair, and the cub's tiny nose twitched as if smelling the strange but comforting mix of fur and earth. It took tentative steps toward him, curiosity overcoming lingering fear. The gorilla's deep gaze met the cub's, and though he said nothing, the understanding was clear. Here, even the most unlikely of allies could offer protection. The mother lion watched, muscles relaxed, heart still racing but anchored by this fragile peace. As the sun dipped lower, painting the savannah in shades of orange and gold, the three creatures remained still, framed against the vast horizon. The wind stirred again, gentle and forgiving, carrying the scent of life and survival. Somewhere in the distance, a waterbird cried, a reminder of the world beyond this quiet sanctuary. And for a fleeting moment, predator and prey instincts were forgotten. Courage had prevailed, compassion had bridged worlds, and trust had been tested and honored. The cub nestled into its mother, the gorilla a silent sentinel nearby, and the savannah stretched endlessly around them, beautiful yet untamed. In the golden light, there was a lesson written across the landscape. Even in the harshest wilderness, acts of bravery, trust, and unexpected kindness could bloom, leaving echoes that would ripple across the plains long after the day had ended. The world was both cruel and kind, and in the midst of its wild heart, hope still survived.